Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You can see where I'm at. There it is. So up in
At
Port
the Clarkston
Huron.
office.
Actually,
Oh,
Port
really?
Huron. Yeah. Here, I'll give you the view. They're kind of like us. So it's a very much a turn of the century type building. And they did the same thing. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
So how's everything going?
It's good. I got letters together yesterday, and right now I'm going through 1,000 contacts to figure out who still lives at the address that I have.
There we go. There we go. And of course, the biggest thing, you know what to do with them.
Add them to my and
Yep.
call. Yeah.
Just call. Quite often, it's the best way to see if they're still in the area. So it's just give them a call, and the worst you find out is they have moved, and you go, doggone it, and you say, well, listen, you know, keep me in mind, but who do you know in the area here that may still be thinking of making a move? So it's the same thing. Are you a prospect? Who do you know that is? But yeah,
Yep.
that's the key part. Hey, did you let, by the way, Sherry know that you're in on the Powerhouse Producers? Make sure she's
I will
got it
today.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
that way we know that your spot's held.
Okay.
And I gotta apparently step up in today's what's world and get the Bluetooth. Only thing is, I don't know if I could dare stand use those things because they don't want to stay in my ear. I'd be
Yeah, they
afraid to
really
lose
fall out
them.
all the time.
Do they?
Yeah.
And my ears are just not made for them.
That's Justin.
Oh, there's Alana and that future superstar with her.
Yes, I have Kinsley here with me too. We're eating breakfast.
Yay. Good morning, Kinsley.
She doesn't want to say good morning today. She's a little shy.
That it's there. Plus, there's a strange voice that just said that. And let's see, how are we doing on time here? We're 9:59, but oh, and there's Miss Rebecca.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. And on here, guys, you'll see somebody new. I just met her myself here in Port Huron. So Ariel, you've got to tell everybody who you are.
Good morning. My name is Ariel. I just started at the Coldwell Banker Port Huron office officially back in January. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, Ariel's been in, well, licensed for 5 years, we found out, and she finally is saying, you know what, I want to get serious about this real estate thing and leave my current position. So she knows a little bit about what we've got to do, but she came to the right place.
It's been great so far. This office is awesome. There's a lot of great people here with a lot of knowledge, and I'm really happy I made the choice to come here.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm going to assume Shelley then is your mentor.
Jamie
Jamie
Sherlock is
okay.
my mentor.
Okay.
Yep.
I just waited Shelley, but then it's like, you know, that's another great thing that you've got here, which is most of our mentors. You may be assigned to one, but all of them will bend over backwards to help you guys out. So we've got some fabulous mentors. Well, let's go ahead and kick things off again. Smaller group, it looks like today. And I'm going to adjust my view so that I can actually make sure I see everybody. Did I miss anybody as far as intros? Apparently not. All right. So you know, the way that we always start things out is sharing the good news. So who's got some good news they can share with us? And anything qualifies. And it's been 2 weeks, so there's got to be something.
My listing that went pending a few weeks ago, they had an appraisal last week. There were a few things that needed to be fixed, but my seller and her buyer worked together to get that all done. So their reappraisal is this morning this afternoon at 12:30. So hoping that all goes good, and then we'll
Awesome.
be hopefully closing in the next couple weeks. So we're
Good for
seeing
you.
it. Yeah.
So, hey, Ariel, where did that come from? What was the source for that listing?
I worked with her a few years back, and we were just talking then, and she knew I had my license. And then last spring, I was working with J.A. Bachelor, but we listed it last spring, and she just had some personal things pop up, so we had to pull it off the market. And then this year, actually, after I sent out my introduction letters, she got a hold of me and was like, I'm ready to do this again. So here we are.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, and so there, if you will, your announcement that you've now joined, and this is sending a message to somebody else. Now that you've joined us, that announcement letter, they actually called you.
Right.
Awesome.
And with those letters, I mean, she was really the only transaction I got out of that, but I had a lot of people approach me and they're like, I got your card in the mail. I was so excited to see you. I
Awesome.
forgot that you had your license. So it really was a big door opener per se.
Ariel, I'm so glad that you're on, because you're sharing things that which is what this is really all about, is you're sharing the successes, and you just heard something else, that if we don't do these things, people will forget that you're in the business.
Exactly.
So, you know, there's one of the key things that I'll throw out there is, we have a really simple business plan for working your sphere of influence. It's 4-4-12-365, which just simply means talk to them 4 times per year. The most important thing that you can do, uno numero, is talk to the people that you know 4 times per year minimum. Then we're going to send them something 4 times per year. And you just heard the example of that. It becomes the reminder that, oh yeah, gee, Rebecca's in the business. And then 12/24, it is the digital marketing. And that would be even more specifically the digital email. For us, where or what tool will actually touch them 12 to 24 times a year? Which tool is it? It's an important part that you know this. Moxie Engage in particular. So I know Kelly's talking about, she's got 1,000 names that she's got to go through to see, you know, are the addresses correct and so on. But that's to get them into Moxie, and then make sure that you've got emails with each contact, because that's your easy 12 to 24 contacts directly to them without you ever doing anything once it's set up. That takes some time, but hugely important. And of course, you know, Kelly, was the one thing that you and I were just talking before everybody started jumping on. You've got those, but what do we have to do?
Call them.
Call them and talk with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a lot of people will call and say, well, I'm ready, if we send them enough stuff. But it's when we call and talk to them that you become more important than all the other real estate agents they know, or all the other friends they know that hold a real estate license. You want to become the one that they think of more than anybody else. And the only way that we're going to do that is the 4, 4, 12, 365. So that's a key part. Alana's jumping in here. That is what it is all about, making people know that you are able to assist with any real estate needs, make it known often. I love that. Call, text, instant message, Facebook, Instagram, send a letter, all forms of contact. So all of those are extremely important. And the key is, when I say talk to them, we can actually engage people in conversation using all the things that Alana just mentioned there in the chat. That's what we're really talking about. Engage in conversation. If you do that, you're building the relationship. And then we just got to remind them that we sell real estate and that we're really good at doing it. Matter of fact, we're better than any other person that they know who holds a real estate license. So it's that constant reminder. So Ariel, you had a great share with that one. And again, this is where it's let's learn from everybody else's experiences in what they're doing and what they've got going on. Who else is can share some good news? And look, anything is good news. Did anybody make calls for the first time?
I've been reaching out to the contacts in my dashboard, is it? So
Yep.
I've been clicking through that and kind of going through that and talking to people, leaving messages, reaching out via Facebook Messenger, seeing who's on and then reaching out, hey, sometimes it feels a bit more comfortable, the Facebook, because it feels like you can then hey, I just saw your 50th birthday's coming up. How have you been? Like the Facebook gives you sometimes that information to talk about instead of saying, hey, I'm into real estate. Like, I just don't,
Yeah.
it's like, it's a more natural, like, haven't talked to you in a while. I saw that post of yours and it kind of, it makes me feel more comfortable, because then I don't feel like I'm doing some hard sell of myself. It's like, hey, I just saw you posted something. So that makes it easy, I feel like. And a lot of people write back.
I think that's a key because Rebecca, what you brought up is the aspect that I'm starting a conversation,
Right.
something that I'm comfortable with. And then the obvious is that what we want to have happen, ideally, they would go, so, hey, what are you doing?
Right, exactly.
Right. And that makes it that much more comfortable to be able to engage in a conversation. So it's definitely whatever you can do, whatever
Right.
you're comfortable with, that's what you want to do. Matter of fact, Kelly, share a little bit about what you're going to be doing, because it's, again, what I want to be able to demonstrate is all of you are experiencing the similar, we'll call it feelings, emotions, struggles, to be able to do that one thing that we all know that we need to do, which is to talk with people, engage in conversations.
Yeah, so I own a junk removal company and I have a lot of contacts that I'm able to reach out to, but my biggest problem is just, how do I engage with them about real estate and not junk removal? So what I'm doing is I'm going through my database, my sphere, seeing who is still living at that address, and I'm going to be sending them a letter stating that, like, hi, I appreciate the business, the professional and personal relationship I've built with you. I'm now affiliated with Century 21. I'm going to be calling you in the next few weeks to talk about any future real estate needs. And that just allows
And
me to
that's
get a
what's
little
going to
more
go in this
comfortable.
letter, just a very quick, this is it.
Yeah.
You'll remember me from, this is what I'm now doing. I'm going to be calling, which is really
Yeah.
what that introductory letter is for. But go ahead. Now, what happens after we send a letter?
What happens after?
Yeah.
I'm going to be calling them.
And again, why is she taking it from this route? Well, one, she does have now 2 businesses. But I think one of the biggies is that she's got a additional service that she can now provide to these customers that, you know, we won't say that they're in the past. They've used her and nothing says they wouldn't use her again. But now she's got this other, and of course, the biggest thing, Kelly, it makes you more comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
So that's, you know, it's kind of like whatever it takes. And if you guys need an assist, you know, talk with me, talk with your manager, talk with your mentor. But above all else, we've simply got to talk to people every day. Who else has got to share? Makiko, if you're available, I know you got some news that you can share, because she has done that last hard obstacle that she's now graduating from the mentor program. Makiko, what did share with
Yay.
us?
Uh, so yeah, I got a lease listing, but it's not it was not supposed to my first listing. My first list, I got another listing contract from like Korean, the home seller. And then yeah, that was supposed to be my first listing, but I brought my lease client who is looking for a lease to that home. The owner listed the house by themselves on Zillow, and then my client ended up not leasing that house, but the homeowner asked me the feedback, and I suggested the cleaning, and then to make the home like welcoming to new tenant. So, and then I asked them if they would like to list the house with me. So they were like, okay, yeah, yes. So I got the listing.
There we go.
Thank you.
Awesome job. So there's one where, because I'm going to say this is one of those that the secret sauce is a 4-letter word called work.
Mm-hmm.
So Makiko, because she's out working, gets an opportunity because somebody that she was working with ended up trying to lease by owner, and she proved herself.
Yes,
that.
and then yeah, and by list the property, the listing. I got a lot of contacts from the potential tenants, and then they are turning to my clients too. So one of the potential tenants didn't like the house, but I set up the auto email for them, and then I got a showing appointment with them to other house.
Awesome. Hey, Makiko, I
Yeah.
think people are getting a little bit of an idea from your, we'll say, accent.
Okay.
You're not from around these parts.
Okay.
So, Makiko, you're from what country?
I'm from Japan.
And she speaks how many languages?
I speak Japanese is my native like mother tongue, and I speak Korean better than this English, and then a little bit English.
There you go. So guess what she's working more than anything else? Her sphere of influence.
Yeah.
That's who she's talking to. And although you can't target, as we've talked, who would she be the most comfortable in working with? And if, let's say, I was coming from Korea or from Japan, who would I would prefer to work with? Somebody who really understands and knows what I'm dealing with. So just picture yourself moving from the United States and going to Japan. Who would you be most comfortable with? So who or what is your niche? is really what Makiko is doing to be able to build her business. And she was Rookie of the Year last year. So good job from that aspect for you.
Thank
Um,
you.
So here's one that, based upon our little conversation, I want you to make a quick note. Do you have your Moxie Engage set up with then say at least the holiday campaign? Because there's a campaign where you put all the people in and you say, okay, put this person on the holiday campaign, click the button, and every holiday that whatever they're set up, there's quite a lot of them. They're going to be touched every holiday and you don't even do anything. If that's not done, you've got to put that on your task list. Because remember, there's two ways to do business, two ways to be able to get the business. The way that we always coach it is, one, being active, that I'm going to the business. That'd be a telephone call. It'd be, we're actually meeting face to face, or we're going out, we're knocking on doors, we're running into them at church, the ballpark, the daycare, wherever it is. We're going to see people to where we can interact. But essentially that's it. It's really the face to face, it's the telephone, or we use technology like this to where we can engage people in conversation. So that's active. The only other is to do things that will get people to call you. Preferably, we're doing both, but the predominant one is we need to engage people in conversation every day. And so as an example, what's your number? How many people are you supposed to talk to every day? And as a matter of fact, I want you to just type it in. And if you don't know, put a question mark, because then we can talk about that. But type it right into the chat. Rebecca's got 5, Ariel is 10. Michael's at 10, Kelly's at 20. Rebecca's at the 5, 10, 10, 20. And I know, Makiko, I know your number. Great is 5. So that's good. Now, here's the next question then. Let's shift gears to always agenda item number 2. I need help with ... I'm struggling with ... I ran into this situation. What would that be? What are those circumstances that you guys might be running into that you would need help with? Now, there's got to be something. So otherwise, you guys aren't talking to people. And maybe that's what you need help with.
Can I just speak instead of typing it?
Oh, please, yes.
Okay, so I guess it was 6 years ago, the loan officer I used, I keep in touch with him on LinkedIn, and he reached out to me when he saw my notification. He's like, hey, Rebecca, nice to meet you. And he reached out, he's like, hey, you want to grab coffee? So I said, sure. So I had coffee with him yesterday, and he hands me like a stack of his cards, and I said, great. And I handed him a stack of my cards, and he said, I'm sure, you're out of SACMAR, I see, Century 21. I go, yeah. He goes, I'm sure they have their, mortgage broker, bankers they like to use. He goes, but if you ever have a client that, wants to, another kind of access to, sorry, another reference person, that'd be great. And I said, sure. And I'll please do the same for me. And he was just talking about the market. And he's like, right now, it's just like, everyone's just not moving. We're anticipating the fall, winter to get better again, but everyone is, if they have a mortgage, they have a lower interest rate mortgage. So they want to stay put. They don't want to go to this higher mortgage. And then if you don't have a mortgage, you're like, why do I want to take on a high interest mortgage? And it was all of these things, right? So I just keep getting this everywhere I go. Well, why would I do that? Why would I sell? There's not even an inventory. What do I do if I sell my house? I can't even find a house in time. So it's feeling like everyone is saying all of these things and you're trying to remain positive. Like, well, you can refinance when the rates go down, right? But then they're like, well, what if I don't find a house? Well, I have heard people, they kind of put their stuff in storage, rent for a while until the perfect house comes along. Like, there are all these things that I'm like trying to throw out, but nothing's sticking, they're still stuck. And I just feel like even if the loan officers are kind of saying this, it's like, I mean, they're saying they're busy. I'm not saying they're not busy, but they're just like, a lot of people are just staying put. So I would love some insight into more things to throw back at them to kind of help this conversation.
Well, this is where I always like to let everybody share and learn from each other. We've got a couple of great mentors on here. So as you can see, Alana's busy with her daughter there. But Alana says, talk to the sellers about the equity in their homes, what loan officers can do, such as rate buy downs. So, we always talk about concessions, where it's getting money back from the seller to apply toward closing costs. Well, a closing cost could be that we buy down the interest rate, and it's really prepaid points. So if it's 6, you might buy it down to 5.5 or 5 by using money that the seller gives to apply to that. I think a lot of it is talk to them about what the media does. How much of what the media says is positive? So you can even talk to people who said, oh my God, Rebecca, why are you getting into real estate now? I mean, the market's this, the prices are falling. It's just, there's nothing going. Which, if we know statistics, so this would be the next part, know the statistics of what's going on. So I think it's important that we know the MLS has easy access to statistics. If you don't know how to get to those, check with your manager, your mentor. If they don't know, listen, I can tell you how to get to it through RealComp. If you're in MI Real Source, I'm not sure, but then I would say call MI Real Source and say, guys, where am I going to find market statistics? Okay. I think one of the things that we'll be doing with Hot Topic Tuesdays is once a month, we're going to take a look at where's the market over the past month? Where is it currently? So that we begin to know the statistics, because when, as an example, how much or what happened to the market when they raised the interest rates and it went from the 2s and 3s up to the 6s and 7s? Anybody know what happened to the real estate market? Anybody be able to tell me? See, we need to know that. So here's what I can tell you. If you watch it, what we know is, and make note of this, the number of closings fell 30%. But it was the number of closings that fell 30%. What did everybody hear is that what fell? Prices. And if you think the prices were, or when you heard that prices were going to fall, the market was going to crash, because that's always really what you're concerned about is prices falling. Did prices fall at any time during that cycle? As a whole, they did not. I will tell you, it was a minor, like 2 point some odd percent. But if you take a look now, we're only down 14.6% in the number of sales year over year versus 30. Inventory is still at historical lows. It's not the historical lowest, but historical lows, ridiculously low supply of inventory. Well, now what has happened to the buyers? How long have we been looking at 6% interest rates? It's been what, we're going on about, I think, 9-10 months, right? So the market fell. Actually, we're about 12 months now, come to think about it, because it was about April of last year that they actually started chunking them up. And that's when we saw the fall. Well, if you take a look at prices now, the average sale price and the median sale price, I believe, was or is about 2.6% up. So we haven't seen a fall in regards to market values. We've seen an increase, if anything. Why? Because we have historical low inventory. What are buyers becoming accustomed to as far as the interest rates? The word that I use, it's normal. What's a great question to ask? Do you foresee the market falling in regards to values? Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you feel that the market is going to crash, or even will we see falling prices? Most of them, if they've been educated at all, if they really watch, they know it hasn't. If they say, well, I think there's a good possibility, you say, you know, there's always the possibility, isn't there? Are you familiar with what really is going on with the market? Well, I can tell you, a year ago when they raised the interest rates, we saw the number of closings fall over 30% year over year. Interestingly enough, right now we're only down 14.6% year over year in regards to the number of closings. And of course, the other part is, as far as the interest rates, do you feel that 2 or 3% were really normal interest rates, or might they had some incentives to be there? Were they actual lows, or were they artificially low? And an artificially low is a great term to be able to use. Now, I could tell them all of that information, or I could ask the questions and provide information. If you ask questions, they're coming up with the answers themselves. But that's some key information. And of course, here's the other one I want you to remember. Days on market and the month supply of inventory. Months supply of inventory. Alana, perchance, I see that you put the link in there for RealComp. Have you looked to see what the current, or have you pulled it up to where you know what the current month supply of inventory is?
It's 1.4 months, according to the NOC4.
That's what I thought. Okay. So it really hasn't changed. I think last week when I looked at it, it was 1.6. Now it's 1.4, working more in our favor. But here's the way that you understand the month supply of inventory. What it's saying is, with the current rate of sales and the current active inventory, if no other homes come on the market, we would sell all homes that are currently on the market in 1.5 months. In 6 weeks, we would be out of homes to sell. Okay. Now, that then brings up the aspect that that is a seller's market. Definite seller's market. If you're under, well, here, if you're 3 and under, you're a definite seller's market. 3 to 4, you might look at it and go, okay, that's pretty much right in the middle. And then if it's over 4 months, and these are numbers that many would tell you, there might be a give a weeks or a month either side of these. But if it's over 4 months or over, then it would be a buyer's market. Okay. But what I can tell you is it's been a long time since we've seen a normal market all the way around. And it's been a seller's market for many, many years. And I say a normal market because if you go back to when the economy crashed and we had all of the foreclosures, distressed sales, well, that was a buyer's market. I can't even remember what the month supply of inventory was, but it was ridiculous. Where you can have 250 home neighborhood and you might find a home active, or you might find 2 or 3 signs up, but they're all sold. Back then you had about anywhere from 10 to 15 homes, maybe 20. You would see 10%, as much as 10% actually on the market, signs in the front yard. So there's a huge difference. But it's important to be able to know that number and be able to describe, again, what the month's supply of inventory is. Because if anybody believes that the market is going to crash, well, we've got to get away from having a 1.4 month supply of inventory because of the low inventory. So even now, by the way, think of this, that's how low the inventory is. If sales are down and we still have a 1.4 month supply of inventory, you know how low inventory is. But now then, how do we get a seller to sell? Right? That's the difficult part. I think that the key is that we need to start with the truth. We need to educate. And this was something when we did the last Hot Topic Tuesday deep dive and we had all 4 coaches on, and Karina Ball was really emphasizing the point of educate. We need to be educated, but 2, we need to educate buyers and sellers. We need to educate our sphere of influence as to what's really going on. Now, here's another bit of knowledge that I will tell you holds people back. One is the inventory. Rebecca, you're definitely talking to people because you basically quoted what everybody is saying. They're afraid to put their home on the market because they may not find anything. It's part of the problem. And remember that. It's great to be able to share, yeah, it's a unique market. Part of the issue that we're running into is that just like you, there's people who would put their home on the market if they had confidence they could find one.
Hey, Darwin, can I tell a scenario that I'm going through right now?
I'd love it. Yeah, share.
So I have a seller. She's pregnant with her 2nd child. She has a 1-year-old. They have a 2-bedroom condo. And we were going back and forth. It started through Hard Knocks. And finally, we got her condo on the market. And she was concerned. She said, I'm going to have 2 kids. I don't want to be homeless. So I'm concerned that if I sell my condo, I'm not going to have anywhere to go. So what we did in her instance was put right on the listing, contingent on the seller finding suitable housing within 14 days of an accepted offer. Now I have found them a house. We have a buyer. So I have 3 contingencies going on for this transaction. They're going to get complicated. Talk to your managers, talk to your mentors, but it's possible. We've seen this before. It wasn't seen in like 2020, 2021, because you kind of had to give what you could to get a house if you were a buyer. But now we're seeing a lot more contingencies and it's normal, but you just have to talk them through the scenarios that can happen through that.
Yeah, and that's where one of the keys. So, as a matter of fact, let's chunk it down. What Alana gave you was get sellers to understand their real concern is, I might not find something and I don't want to be homeless. I'm going to reword what she said. Their whole thing is they don't want to sell because they could end up homeless. So what we need to do is to share with them what we do to find our buyers homes. One of the keys, which this is called prospecting, but now you've got a great reason I would think that you'd all feel very comfortable with, is that I have a homeowner who's going to sell their house, and I've got to find them a home when it's a very difficult market because of the low inventory. I'm going to look for homes that aren't even on the market. You would more than likely feel very comfortable in calling it for sale by owner if Mr. and Mrs. Zukowicz would fit what their home is offering. It would make sense to call them, right? And the call would be really simple. Hi, Mrs. Fisbo. My name's Darwin. I'm a local realtor. The reason for my call, I'm not calling to actually list your home. The reason for my call is I represent a buyer. Their name is Mr. and Mrs. Zukowicz. They're coming here from Tennessee. I haven't been able to find them a home. And as you know, inventory is extremely low. So I found your home, and everything that I'm seeing, it would be one that I should show them. Would you be all right if I were to show them the home? Well, we don't want to pay a commission. No problem. My buyer is responsible for seeing that I get paid. Isn't that all true? If you had that scenario, let me give you another one. I searched the MLS for expired listings. I can see if any of the numbers I can find for the property are good. More importantly, I could go knock on a door. Follow the same script. Hi, my name's Darwin. I'm a local realtor who happens to represent, and you could do this when you're wearing your career apparel. I'm a local realtor. I'm working with Mr. and Mrs. Zukowicz, their buyers. I haven't been able to find them a home. I'm actually searching for those that were on the market previously but didn't sell. Your home came up as one that meets the description of what they're looking for. I'm just kind of curious, if they wanted to buy it, would you guys still consider selling? Oh, by the way, if they don't buy it, what do you go after? The listing. I mean, that's really what happened to Makiko with her listing. How about those listings that were either conditional or unconditionally withdrawn? Everybody's familiar with those. Search those in the MLS. I had one of these 2 weeks ago. A lakefront property. It was at $850 last summer, dropped to $825, then unconditionally withdrawn. I called, found the homeowner, looked up potential phone numbers, got a hold of her, told her the scenario, and she said, yes, I'm going to be putting the home back on the market, but bummer, she wanted to go through her agent that she worked with last year. Look, at this point, I'm calling for my buyer. I just want a home to sell. Now, we couldn't put it together. We were about $25,000 difference between. But would that be a nice sale to have, 700 plus? And this is what it required of me. So do sellers know? Let me rephrase that. Do buyers know? And do buyers who are sellers also know that that's what you do to help them find homes? So now if I go out and I meet with them, I let them know what we do to help them find a home. And then we bring into it what Alana brought up, is that if they feel it's worth the risk, that they could find something because of the efforts that I do to find homes. And we offer to them a risk-free listing opportunity to where it's contingent upon the seller finding suitable housing. So it won't cost them anything. And if we can't find them anything, they remove the house from the market. And by the way, if they accept an offer and they haven't found anything, they accept the offer contingent upon them finding suitable housing. Okay. in that, Alana, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, there was another like leg to this deal. I was taking those sellers around because we had an accepted offer. So we're trying to find a house in that 14-day period. You know, we're looking all over, multiple offers, getting beat out by cash buyers, no inspections, things like that. I actually reached out to this condo where they denied our offer, did not even counter, said, we don't want to deal with that. No, thank you. But my sellers loved this condo. And I actually reached back out to him 2 weeks later and said, what do we need to do to make this work? My buyers love this place. They want this condo. And all it came down to was they didn't want to pay the concessions. And I talked to my sellers, and guess what? They are like, you know what? The $10,000 to buy down the rate, we're not worried about it. We want this house. And we made a deal work. So you have to reach back out as well.
What a great story. I'll tell you, that's the aspect of negotiation right there. Ask more questions. So this would be another thing, Rebecca, that goes right along with your question. There's two things that we always need to know whenever we find or identify a prospect or suspect. As we do more getting together and coaching, you'll have that defined. I need to know these two things. Most importantly, motivation. Secondly is the urgency. So urgency, we're talking timing. Motivation, we're talking about their why. So it's not just to sell a home, right? They're not selling a home just to sell a home. They're selling a home for a reason. What is that? So somebody, you say, oh, hey, so if you did sell the home, where are you going next? Well, we're going to Texas. Is that the motivation? Nope. So what part of Texas you going to? Well, we're going to go into the Stevensville area. Is that the motivation? Not yet. So what's taking you to Stevensville? Well, we got no family left here. My kids and my soon-to-be grandkids are there. I really want to make sure that I'm there. I want to be a part of their lives. Have we discovered their motivation? We now know why and the what. So then it's, well, when are you hoping to be there? Well, the baby's due in. We now know the two most important things that we really have to have, because until the motivation is great enough and the urgency is soon enough, great enough, it's hard to get anybody to be able to do anything. So, you know, we talk about ready, willing, and able. Work with ready, willing, and able buyers. If they're not ready, willing, and able, don't spend your time with them. They're just a prospect or a suspect. They're not a buyer until they're ready, willing, and able. That's when, you know, I jump in my car and we're going to go out and show homes. You need the same thing with sellers. Sellers, you have to know, are they ready, willing, and able? What's holding them back? So another part that you get into is what's going on in their head, remembering the media today. And we have to educate, reprogram, provide them with the proper information, remove what you can, and then go, well, let me ask you this. Do you see the market falling? Do you see prices coming down? Nope. So if interest rates are the most important thing that's holding you back, do you see them going up or falling? Well, we believe that they could fall. Do you think that the prices are going to fall, or do you think that they'll continue to go up? Well, it looks like they're going to continue to go up. So let me ask you, how much might it cost you if you don't sell and buy now? What if you don't make this move now? Case of what that scenario is that I created, I might ask you, well, let me ask you, where would you rather wait for the market to turn? here in Michigan? Or would you rather wait down there in Stevensville with your children and grandchildren to be? We're bringing in the motivation. Because again, we've just got to help them make fully informed decisions. But if we take a look at what the media is filling their heads with, this is no time to buy or sell. But I think that's where we've just got to hit them and make them feel comfortable and come up with the solutions. So as you run into these things, that's where it's share with your mentor and share with your manager. Because again, look, you know, here's Alana, what she's running into and what she's done. And look, there's many things that we're not going to think of until you bring them to us. So that's a very realistic scenario. And I don't know, we've got a couple of others on here, but has anybody else got any other ideas or input? Because that is one that all of us are running into, new or experienced, producing or low producing. We're all running into that if we're talking to people. Any other input toward that one? That was a great I need help with. Let me hit an important one as a coach. How many of you are hitting your daily number of contacts that you've determined that you need to do? Because I'm assuming you did the goal projector. How many of you are actually hitting that? Uh-oh. So here's my question to you. What do you need from your mentor, from your manager, from myself? What do you need to be able to hit that number? Because guys, that's the most important thing you can do. Let me make one big suggestion. I know Kelly is signed up for the Powerhouse Producers. Is anybody else signed up for Powerhouse Producers? I know Kelly, you're on it, right? Ariel, how about you? Are you on it?
I was just gonna ask, what is Powerhouse Producers?
Powerhouse Producers is, wow, I've got my 4 coaches. What we know from our agent performance department is we've been doing a very good job of providing a lot of education. The how to do this stuff is out there. You've got the HRC agent development YouTube channel, loads of information. Every Hot Topic Tuesday is in there. Speedboard, you've got the very basic introductions to all the different things that we need to do. Bottom line, between that and what Cobo Banker, what Century 21 does, we've got the education. What we've really got to do is now for ourselves as agent is put the education into place. So Powerhouse Producers has been somewhat of an evolution because we started, the short history is this. We started with boot camp. We then created Top Gun. We then went to Hard Knocks. And after our last round of Hard Knocks, we said, wait a minute, let's just keep this simple. We've educated you. We need to now put you into the atmosphere where it's simply this. We're going to pick up the phone and we're going to call and talk to people. And we're going to do it in small groups, probably 8 to 10 people, with one of the 4 coaches sitting there with you in your group as everybody's dialing the table. So I'm sitting here around the table with 8 chairs in it. That's essentially what we have set up for you. You're going to be sitting with, again, approximately 8 people, one of them being a coach, and you're all going to make calls. Not going to be an option. You're going to be encouraged to make that call. We're going to make you feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay, we want to get you used to that. But here's the great part. You've got all the support that you need, including one of our coaches that when you're on a call can hear what you're doing. They'll have an idea of what's being said. They'll pass you notes, cue cards, whisper in your ear, and they're going to help you with the experience of doing the primary task that as realtors we need to do. So that's going to be May 3rd, May 10th, May 17th. It is from 9:30 until 1. So if you're new, you need this. If you've struggled with picking up the telephone, if you've struggled with knocking on doors, if you've just simply struggled with talking to people, you need this. Because here really becomes the bottom line. If we go back to those two basic things, one, we're either active and we're going to the people and talking to them, or two, we're doing the things that will get people to come and talk to us. If you're using number two, hopefully you've got a lot of money and a lot of time. Otherwise, we need to talk to people. That's where this comes in. And oh, by the way, the cost to it, write this down, put your $, and then put a 0. It's free. But if you do it, commit to it. And if you go, ooh, man, I don't want to do that, you might want to look at what your future looks like. Okay. This is an important class for you to get involved in. And I hate to call it a class because, you know, with what we've talked, Alex and I, we're not putting education in this. This is action. So that's the evolution that we've gone through, is to really put to the point of where it's just, let's pick it up and be productive. We're going to do that income producing activity together for 3 days over 2 weeks. And watch what will happen to your confidence just over those 3.5 hour sessions. By the way, they'll also help in regards to embracing the recording of videos. So they're going to have a little, we'll call it recording studio set up for you to be able to do videos, so that you also become comfortable with that, because that's a huge way to stay in front of your sphere of influence. All right. So definitely do that. All you've got to do, notify your front desk administrator, and he or she will be able to get you signed up for that. They're only doing 40 people. So want to make sure that you get your name on the list and make sure that you commit to it. So I know some of you are dual career, or you're what we'll call the dual career domestic engineer. You're a mom at home doing business full time. Make that commitment if you decide to do it. And yeah, if I'm currently working, I would take the time off. Absolutely. Absolutely. With that, I'll ask, do we have any other questions? Need any other guidance, direction? All right. Guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you for investing in yourself. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And again, don't be afraid to give me a call if you guys have questions. You know, Makiko and Rebecca and Kelly, they got me because I'm there in Rochester with them. I'm a phone call away. If you need and I can't get to you, leave a message. I will get back to you. All right. So there we go. Questions? All right, guys. Have a great 2 weeks. We'll see you on, what will it be? I don't know the date. May 3rd or something like that. May 4th. We'll see you then. Go talk to a lot of people, set appointments. See you guys.